Speaker Emerita Pelosi. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Joy.
Thank you. And I see your pin. We're talking a lot about guns this evening. And you know, it is a reminder that when you were running the House of Representatives, you actually did do something in terms of passing laws about guns. Why are we now hearing this paralysis?
Well, it is, I think it's all about money, big gun money. I'm not talking about lobbying money at NRA. That's one thing. I'm talking about big money in the gun business. These assault weapon bans are so lethal, so deadly, you can't even describe how they tear a body apart internally. And that we should just have had another one yesterday. I mean, this week is so remarkable. Now, we passed the assault weapon ban in the 90s. I was here. In the House, Chuck Schumer was our leader. We know how to get this job done with this bill. We just have to be able to get the Republicans to give us 60 votes in the Senate to save lives. They say, oh, well, it's politically this or that. And I say to them, your political survival is nothing compared to the survival of our children in their schools, in their playgrounds, in their wherever they happen to be. So we have to get this done. And I see this pin. It's a assault weapon ban pin that I got from the kids. There's something called Generation Lockdown. And these young kids, some of them were at the Marjorie Stoneman School, some of them other places, but young people who are taking the lead on getting an assault weapon ban. And one of them is in the Congress now, Maxwell.
Maxwell Frost.
He's so wonderful. But I want this to be everybody's best piece of jewelry, a ban on assault weapons.
You know, I mean, the polling shows that the younger Americans, you know, as they're getting into the 18, able to vote, are feeling incredible stress about being forced to do these lockdown drills and learn to evade a shooter. And that as they are coming into voting age, they are very focused on getting gun reform done. Given the makeup of the Congress now, and that they're spending a lot of time investigating Hunter Biden and sort of pretending that the government's being weaponized against conservatives on Twitter, is there, I mean, it seems to me that we can't even have a conversation about getting gun reform while this Congress is in place, this majority is in place. Is that accurate to say?
We do have to just talk to the American people. They are our bosses. And we really, as Lincoln said, public sentiment is everything. With it, you can accomplish almost anything. Without it, practically nothing. But there is support in the public to get this done. And we just have to make sure that members of Congress hear from their constituents. Now, the other side is very, very active on the public sentiment side. And we just have to make sure people know. Right now, in the race in Wisconsin, which is coming up soon for a judgeship there, the Wisconsin Republicans, the far right-wing Republicans there, are putting out the word to gun owners. You must vote for Kelly. He's awful. And against the Democratic Judge Janet, who is there, who's wonderful, because of guns. No, Judge Janet is not taking their gun away. She's not interfering with their gun rights or anything else. But he's interfering with a woman's right to choose. He's interfering with who wins the election. In the last election in Wisconsin, 4-3 to accept the results of the election. Now, this race will determine what that fourth seat will be again. And if they win on the gun thing, that means that there's a very good chance that they will overturn the presidential election.
And speaking of that, so I want to show you, this is a piece of video from January 6th. Your daughter shot this video, and it is one of the most memorable moments, I believe, in your very, very memorable speakership. Let's play that if we could.
How are you? Oh, my goodness, where are you? God bless you. But are you very safe? I've gotten a very bad report about the conditions of the House floor with defecation and all that kind of thing. I worry about you being in that Capitol room. Don't let anybody know where you are.
And of course, you're speaking with then Vice President Mike Pence. Are you surprised that it has taken a subpoena to force him to testify when behind closed doors he's expressed the outrage you would expect by the fact that he could have been killed that day, as could many of you? Are you surprised it's taken a subpoena for him to talk?
Well, he did the right thing that day, and that is what was important.
Sure.
He honored the Constitution of the United States. Now he has the subpoena. That's very interesting that they issued the subpoena. He should accept that opportunity to tell his story, but he can always withhold information. That's his right to do. But I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't. I hope that he would go there and show the truth. I mean, it's a very sad thing that has happened to our country, that they would have an assault on our Constitution that day to certify who the president would be, on our Capitol, this pillar of democracy to the world, on our Congress of the United States. They're out to get us. They were out to get me and stuff. And, of course, him at the direction of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
A very sick person.
Well, I want to show, I have another picture, and this is a picture that I think became quite epic, and this is you, the lone woman in the room, standing up over this cadre of Donald Trump and his officials. And that sort of represented your willingness and ability to use power and to understand your power and understand your why. You're always talking about your why, and your why, I know, is the children. But how worried are you that Donald Trump could be president again, and what damage he could do were he to regain the office?
Well, let me say, in that picture, we're not allowed to have phones or cameras or anything in the room. They took that picture, and then they put it out to show how out of order I was, a woman to stand up in that room of all white men. Actually, I think Liz Cheney was in the room. I'm not sure, but she had the right to be. But nonetheless, overwhelmingly. I think that we spend too much time talking about him. Let's talk about what other possibilities are for the future, because this was a real taint on our democracy to have that person there. And it's no use even spending time going into it. Let's spend time on how we go into the future. What are the possibilities in terms of who they might nominate? But we cannot keep giving him all the press he wants. This whole thing about his indictment coming out when he didn't really even know if he was going to be indicted, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, how would he know?
Right.
He's not supposed to know. How would he know? And that's been a while. And for a week and a half, all we hear is about him. And that's exactly what he wanted. So let's put him aside and let's go into the future about ideas, about our children and their future, and gun safety so that they have a safe prospect as they go forward and not have to hide under their desk because of danger in the classroom, because he has stirred that pot. He's talking about death and destruction in terms of his indictment. Death and destruction. Yeah. Does he not know no one is above the law, not even a former ex-impeached twice president and defeated president of the United States.
Well, I'm going to hold you for just one moment. I have a little bit more time with you, so we're going to take a quick break. Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi is staying with us. We've got a lot more to talk about. We'll be right back.
And we got a lot. There's so much going on. Of course, we have the...
And I am back with Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. The current Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, has not acknowledged the shooting that took place in Tennessee, has avoided questions about it. Give him a grade on how he's doing in his job. Is this somebody who did it very well?
Well, let's hope that for something better to happen, because how can you ignore that? But when you see who his constituents are within the Republican Party, the representative from that district is the same person who sent out a Christmas card with his wife and children holding rifles. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Yeah. And so they're his bosses. And so you can only expect him to do what his speakership allows. He has an ever-shrinking speakership because of how he made these promises. Yeah. And this is who were the people who were elected.
I want to show you this picture. This is actually a good one. This is you at the unveiling of your portrait. It is unique in the Congress because you are the only woman who has been Speaker of the House. There you are. There is your portrait. Your lovely husband, Paul. And how is he doing?
You're nice to ask. Thank you for asking. Everybody asked. He's doing well. He has a couple more months to really be back to normal. Yeah. But it's so sad because he's as apolitical as they come. Sure. He's not political at all. And everybody loves Paul. They're after me and he gets hurt.
But it is, so that is an issue. The political violence that we've seen and the extremism that we've seen overtake the Republican Party is something that's unavoidable. We end up talking about it on this show all the time. But there's also a sort of religious extremism that's taken place in the courts. You are the first Speaker of the House, and you now live in a country that has taken women's abortion rights back to 1972. How do you reconcile the sort of advancements that you represent and this retrograde movement in our country?
Well, it's big. It's very big, because in the history of our country, our founders, with their beautiful vision of equality of people, that was not reflected in their documents, but thank heavens they made them amendable to our Constitution. So for the history of our country, we have always been expanding freedom, the abolition of slavery, right to vote for men, then for women, and then, again, so many other things, marriage equality and the rest of that. Until Dobbs.
Yeah.
Dobbs said, we're reversing that. We're taking away freedoms that are guaranteed in the Constitution, that have precedent established by this court. So this is a dangerous path that this court is on.
Yeah.
And it's horrible, because it's a personal issue. It's an issue of faith. It's a kitchen table issue. It affects people in so many ways. I say that as a mother of 5. Paul and I have 5 children in 6 years and 1 week. And then that's, and we respect that other people make their own choices about what they do. And we have no politician, no Supreme Court justice, anybody has the right to tell women and families how they should live their lives.
Yeah.
This is a horrible decision. And you know what? It really revealed itself in the election. They were going to win 40 seats. It was going to be a red tornado or whatever it was. And what did they get? 5 seats. And we hopefully will win that back with our new, fresh leadership in the Congress, Hakeem Jeffries.
You've always said, one of my favorite things that you say is, you have to learn how to take a punch and you have to learn how to throw a punch for the children.
That's right.
Give some
in the arena.
Give some advice to those who are frustrated by our politics now about how you can start to get people to vote, not on how politics will impact your religion, but how it will impact your life.
That's right.
Because you're a religious person.
It reminds me of that. We were talking, I was at Georgetown speaking the other day, and we talked about this, and I didn't say it then, but I say it now because the way you framed your question. When President Kennedy was running for president, he went to Houston. He spoke to all these ministers there. And the question is, what religion do you believe in? Of course, as a Catholic, that was not going to be popular. And he said, it's not important what religion I believe in. What's important is what America I believe in. And that's what we have to be thinking in terms of taking it to people. And I have hope for this reason. I do think that many of the people who fell for what's-his-name's line, because they just didn't see a path in the future in the economy the way it was, I think many of them are really patriotic. I think some of them are racist and bigots, but I think many of them are very patriotic. I think young people have lost patience with all this, whether we're talking about gun violence or we're talking about the role of money in politics.
Sure.
The role of money. If you take that role of that money out, think of what it would mean. The fossil fuel industry could not dominate. The gun industry could not dominate. The pharmaceutical industry could not dominate. And people could see a connection between their kitchen table needs and what is happening in Washington or in politics. And we're very proud of the record we had in the past 2 years, record-breaking under President Biden. He's just a remarkable president, a great leader, visionary, strategic, knowledgeable, heart-to-heart, empathetic president. And again, I couldn't say more about my members. They were so courageous to vote the way they did. But we still have to remember that the people are the boss, and they have to know. And we have to tell over and over again and listen all the time. All the time.
Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, happy Women's History Month.
Yes.
You are a part of our Women's History Month, and
great.
You will go down in history. I will argue as, if not the greatest Speaker of the House, you're definitely in the top 2.
Well, when women succeed, America succeeds. Happy Women's History Month.
I'm going to give you number 1, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. Thank you. It's such an honor.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I'll be right back.
Thank you.